Hey everyone, I'm Mallory Rubin and I am thrilled to tell you that House of R has a new podcast feed. Joanna Robinson and I will now be with you twice a week with more of the deep dives you've come to know and love on the Ringerverse. In addition to exploring all of your favorite nerd culture new releases, we'll have nostalgic revisitations, hype meters, Hall of Fame inductions, tropes courses, drafts, and more. All bad babies are welcome as we dive into Star Wars, Marvel, Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, and beyond. Follow the new House of R feed on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.
This episode is brought to you by Visible. Maybe you've already let your New Year's resolution slip. We all have, but you can still make a 2 year's resolution with Visible. Right now, you can get a one-line wireless plan from Visible for just $20 per month for 24 months. 24 months is basically 4 bachelor seasons. That could be 4 engagements, 4 broken engagements, so many other couples we didn't see coming. It's really an eternity in Bachelor Nation. And that's unlimited 5G data powered by Verizon with no annual contracts. Switch now at Visible.com and use the code VISIBLE24. Don't miss out. Offer ends January 31st. New members only. Promotional rate with service on the Visible plan. For additional terms and network management practices, see Visible.com. This episode is brought to you by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. All right, it's official. I think I've discovered the ultimate coupling of all time. Like any good relationship, they really balance each other out. One is super sweet, and the other, well, they can be a little nutty sometimes. It is, of course, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, the perfect combination of peanut butter and chocolate. So perfect, some would call it true love. Find Reese's now at a store near you. Welcome to Bachelor Party, the Love is Blind edition. I'm Juliet Litman. I'm here with Callie Curry. Hi, Callie.
Hello.
Is that like a new song or is that Adele? Hello, it's me.
Definitely not Adele. I can hold a tune better than that. Not better than Adele, but better than what I just did.
Sure.
No, that was just me being so excited. I know we might do this again at the end of the year because I really enjoyed doing it last year. It's got to be in my top 10 for this year, TV shows. Top 5, probably.
I agree. I think this is just incredibly entertaining. We're here to talk about episodes 8 and 9. 8 really delivered. And then 9, I was like, this is the problem when you only have 2 couples. But then some real drama with Stacy and Izzy. I mean, there's a lot to get into. We got to start with the rest of the party, obviously. So we pick up with Uche and Milton having a chat, basically, after Uche has pulled Milton aside. And I watched this twice, and I kind of forgot how awful Uche is. Like, it's pretty stark. And we actually were texting about this. We have failed to discuss Miriam in the previous 2 episodes, and we are going to rectify that today. He is so mean to her. It's like, well, ridiculous.
Yes. Here's my thing.
Her story is also confusing. Uche takes something, a kernel of like, okay, you have a point, and then blows it out of proportion. And he is mean. I think he like just hates every woman.
I was going to say, this is what Uche does, which is confusing for the viewer, for me, I guess. Like, while Uche was saying these things, I was like, I agree. She didn't make any sense. Nobody knows where did she go to college? Did she not go to college? Does she live here? Does she not live here? Like, we didn't know any of those things. But he does it in such a demeaning way that you end up being like, fuck you, Uche.
Exactly.
Uche.
He's so demeaning. It's a great way of
go
putting it.
Miriam. And then afterwards, I'm like, wait, no, not go Miriam. I don't know the answers to the questions that Uche was asking. But God. He was so bad that I almost was like, maybe Lydia isn't that crazy.
Well, I've been on that corner. I've been trying to defend Lydia, and I stand by it.
No, then I finished the 2 episodes, and I was like, she's still really crazy. Uche is just a dick.
I agree. She is nutty, but I think he's making it seem worse.
Nutty sounds like fun nutty.
Your crazy aunt?
Yeah, Nutty's like, she's so nutty and like in a like endearing way. That's not Lydia.
I think that my disdain for Uche is so intense that it makes me like Lydia more. And I don't know.
That's fine. I don't hate Lydia. I think that she's unstable. Like, what are the adjectives to describe what we're watching with her?
I think I'm using more gentle language because I don't want to be an Uche. I don't know what's wrong with Lydia. And I'm just like, she also, I do feel like the way that Milton talks to her about her emotional responses is also condescending. It's just sort of how you feel is how you feel. So I don't know. I feel like their responses are making me more pro Lydia than maybe I would be otherwise.
I agree with both of those things, but I'm also trying to think like if I were in Milton's shoes, because for the most part, you know, Milton's not perfect by any means, but for the most part, he's been like fine, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I was in Milton's shoes, how else do you describe her behavior? Like Milton, first of all, I think is just really like deeply physically attracted to her, and he's
for sure.
He's a 24-year-old guy, so I feel like
horny.
He's not, for sure horny. There's been multiple things that have shown that he's definitely horny.
Yeah.
So I think that's why he hasn't just like left her. And instead he's trying to be like, well, why don't you respond this way? Or like, maybe calm down. Like, I feel like he's trying to get it to where it's all good, but he's definitely seeing red flags and is just trying to be like, well, no, we can get through this. And it's like, no, Milton, you can't. Just because you want to have sex with her, you can't get through this. And instead, now you're being condescending to her. But
yes, he was. At the final date, he is being really just a dick. But I think I understand Milton the least of all these people on the show. Like, I mean, maybe, you know, anyone who's had a certain amount of like airtime, like Johnny and Chris, I feel like I understand them even better than I know Milton. But like Milton clearly didn't want to like engage with his family very much. When he had that lunch with his sister, he's like, it's really hard to join our family. I feel like the name thing is kind of interesting. I don't want to give it too much meaning, but like, I feel like he doesn't want to be James. He wants to be Milton, which I understand why you maybe don't want the same name as your father. It could be confusing or whatever. But I just feel like he's trying to get distance from his family. And he also made that comment to Lydia at one point where he was saying that like for him, he views showing emotion as a privilege is what he says. I thought that was really interesting too. And I think that he's like being very deliberate in how he represents himself on camera. But as a result, I feel like I don't know him that well.
Do you think that's what he meant by showing emotion is a privilege?
What do you mean? I thought maybe he was referring to being like a black man or... Yeah.
So I feel like he was probably taught that.
By like his family or whomever.
Yeah, like being able to show how angry you are is a privilege.
Right. Especially when like anger is like often associated with certain stereotypes.
Yeah. And he's also not like 110 pound, 5'6" black guy.
Right. He's like very tall.
Yeah. So to be as big as he is, I'm sure it was like beat into his head. Like if you're angry, you walk away from the situation, you don't show it, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. Because like doing that could like put your life in jeopardy.
Right. Well, yeah, I think we're saying the same thing. Like he is very deliberate with how he's like presenting himself.
Yeah. I just don't know if it necessarily is like for the cameras or
just in general.
That's just how he is all the time. Yeah.
Right. Although he does say when he's talking to his friends, he's like, anyone who knows me knows I just say it how it is. And I don't think we're getting like the fun Milton that much, like the guy who's like playing video games with his friends or whatever.
Yeah. I think we got it for like 5 seconds. You could see like a little bit of banter with his roommate. And that was like the closest we got to him, like just kind of being more relaxed. Like he sat on the counter, shoulders went down. But I think that's him being with someone he's very comfortable with. Yeah.
And also when his friends come suit shopping with him, he seems like he's having fun.
Yeah. Some families have like more
friends.
of a formal dynamic.
His parents definitely seem formal.
So I feel like the most comfortable version of Milton we got was when he was with his roommate.
Yeah. Yes, I agree with that. And one thing that like everyone in this season shares is a really big emphasis on education. It's like pretty interesting. Like Miriam refers to her Johns Hopkins degree. We know that Uche is a lawyer. We know that Milton like started college with an associate's degree. I guess there's a lot of scientists and like it's like these are their credentials. But there's a lot of talk about like everyone's like resume.
Yeah. And financials, which we'll get to.
I can't wait to get into that, honestly.
The other thing that was interesting to me is that we obviously watched this early, right? And I've been like counting the hours for other people to be able to watch this show. So I have more people to talk about this show with, because I think this season is so interesting. And the clips that I'm seeing now, like that other people are clipping of this show, the first, I think they have like 4 or 5 episodes or 8, 9, obviously they're going to get more.
Yeah.
Like you forget things, or like don't stress like on certain things. And then like the Miriam clip, for example, I was like, how did we miss this?
Right. You mean in the pods when she's talking about like where she's from and whatever, where she lives?
None of it made sense. The clips of Lydia with Aaliyah are startling.
Yeah, we did talk about it at the time when they're like head to head, forehead to forehead on the couch.
No, I know. But then seeing like those 30-second clips again, where she's like, "You're just like me. We're the same person." I feel like I can relate because we're completely aligned. And then when Aaliyah tells Lydia that she's falling in love, and Lydia like closes her eyes and looks like she's about to cry, like at the time, that was even before we knew that they all knew.
Yeah,
whatever.
you're like, oh wow, she's so like a really supportive friend.
No, when she closed her eyes, I remember thinking like, this is weird. Like, why is she acting like that?
I remember being like, why is there so much sobbing? I think I wrote my notes like, why are they so emotional?
I mean, but just it's seeing that clip like over and over and over again, and then continuing to watch the show. Like all these people are like, wow, Lydia's nuts. And I'm like, you have no idea. Like you haven't even gotten to the part where you find out that she probably got on this show purposely to follow Uche. Like,
yeah, the Lydia and Aaliyah stuff is, to me, Lydia's most like questionable behavior by far, because it's so manipulative. Like that is really hard. And if Uche is right, and I think this is true, like no one really refuted it. Like Lydia did say, like, I think I'm going to meet someone from my past in the pods. Like, it does seem like that actually happened. What they refuted was that.
And that she went through his emails.
Yes. That seems to be confirmed. Like she didn't refute that. So. Yeah.
That to me
she
is
actually
the
hasn't
worst
refuted
part.
anything. She just says it's not weird, which I'm saying too. But I did think it was weird that Uche brought the screenshots for Milton. I'm just like, dude, why do you care? Like you're done with her.
Okay, but do you not think it's weird that like she knew his dog's favorite color, but he didn't even know her accent?
Yeah, I think he's also a liar.
You think he knew it was her when he went in there? No, I don't.
I don't think he knew it was her, but I don't know. It just seemed like they like had a fairly long relationship. By the way, one thing I got wrong, they would tape this in 2022, not 2023. So they're on and off. That makes
their relationship even shorter.
Yeah, they're like the length of time they knew each other. But it still meant they had fucked 3 months ago.
Well, yeah, we know that because Lydia told Aaliyah, which was also insanely inappropriate and weird.
The way that she is with Aaliyah is just deeply uncomfortable and like just so terrible.
It's also more terrible because she did it knowing this was filmed. Like, it's not like she knew, like she acted in a way where she thought she was going to get away with all of this. And it's like, you're on a reality television show that's being filmed. On the flip side, Milton did the opposite.
Lydia, but like, what's her end game? Milton seems like he wants to get married for whatever reason. I honestly don't know. Like, and that's part of me not knowing Milton. But why? Like, what is Lydia's end game? Was it to get back with Uche? Was it to sabotage Uche's relationship? Like, she's now got her fucking marriage license with Milton. Like, she could have. It's mission accomplished if all she wanted to do was stop Uche from finding love.
I think that she wanted to get back with Uche. When she saw that wasn't going to happen, then she moved on and then wanted to get back at Uche, ruin his relationship, and then throw her new relationship in Uche's face to make him mad. And then Uche is just... Also, that's the other horrible thing about Lydia. Why the fuck do you like Uche?
I know. He's horrible. He is so horrible. The way that he spoke to everyone at the party, he just wasn't listening to anything. And he was trying to like plead his case to anyone who would listen.
Talk over every single, like even getting in the argument with Miriam. I'm like, 1, why are you doing this? 2, like, you don't really, like, there's just no reason for you to talk to a woman like that. I get if you're in like a serious relationship with someone and you guys get into an argument and you yell at each other because you guys have so much like love and passion and like hurt, whatever intertwined in it, and you get into like a shouting match, that's one thing.
Yeah.
Why the fuck are you talking to someone you barely know like that? Like a woman like that? It's alarming.
Yeah. And also then like all of the women like start defending Lydia, being like, no, actually she was a good friend to Aaliyah. She was a good friend to all of us. Like to Milton's point, perception is reality, and they all only had like certain information.
Yeah.
But then
yeah.
Uche just doesn't back down. It's like, dude, like there's no winning this.
The only one that was kind of like, well, this doesn't really make sense was Johnny.
I think I like Johnny.
Johnny did it in the right way. Like she was like, I don't want to yell at anyone, but like if we really look at the facts here,
yeah,
was Lydia a good friend to Aaliyah or not?
Johnny was very lawyerly, and I believe she is a lawyer. And I was like, good job.
Is she?
I believe so. Yeah, if I recall correctly. I think I like Johnny, but can we pivot to Stacy and Izzy for a second? Because
oh gosh, wait, before we pivot to Stacy and Izzy, our producer mentioned this before the show, but I agree with her. I'm not sure how Netflix is going to have another season and strike gold with this many diabolical characters.
I don't know either. I truly don't know. Yeah, I mean, especially with the Lydia and Uche situation, like you can't run that back ever again.
No, but like Lydia and Uche are both like crazy in different ways. Like Uche is more crazy, like in a could be harmful to the general population kind of way, and Lydia needs internal work.
Yeah.
And then Izzy, honestly, Izzy's the best bad.
I agree. Izzy is just not ready for marriage. And I think we could probably just like leave it there, but we won't. We will dig into it because I need to talk about Stacy. Stacy's done a lot of objectionable things. One of the meanest things she did was when Johnny was just reacting and like they're in a group conversation and Stacy goes to her and says, "Is there something wrong with your face?" And she like asks it again. And there's no reason to do that. There is no reason to be so obnoxious and just mean. It was like just a really cruel thing to do. And Johnny was just reacting. She wasn't taking Lydia's side. So I guess that gave Stacy an opening. But I actually have no idea what Stacy and Izzy are talking about when they're like, she's so full of shit. Stacy was like, she's boring. Okay, that's not a reason to hate someone because they're boring. Like, what did Johnny do?
That's like, you generally don't hate someone when they're boring. There's nothing to hate.
Yeah, they're inoffensive. Yeah.
You usually just are like, whatever. Like, there's not even a reason to talk about someone who's boring. It seems like they're just so upset that she got with Chris and like won't admit that like she wanted Izzy so badly. I will say that like Johnny wasn't the nicest to Stacy in the pods. I don't really remember what she did.
Can you remind me?
Once Johnny realized that Stacy was going to get Izzy, I was going to say win, but I don't know if that's the right word. When she knew that Stacy was going to get Izzy, like Johnny would like go sulk in the corner. And remember Johnny was talking to other girls and was just like, oh, he's going to regret it so much. Like he's definitely choosing the wrong person. Like she's fake. Like Johnny was doing all of that stuff in what was that area called that you loved so much?
The living quarters?
The living quarters. Yes. Johnny was doing all that stuff in the living quarters. So I can kind of get why Stacy's like offended by it, because maybe some of the girls told her some of the things that Johnny was saying about her. And it seemed like one-on-one, Johnny was nice to Stacy. So I think that's why Stacy's like, you're full of shit. Like you were nice to me. You never told me that Izzy was the person you were getting to know. And then, or no, Johnny told Stacy, Stacy didn't tell Johnny. But I can understand why Stacy's like, I didn't have to tell you. And once you found out that he wanted me, you were saying bad things about me, like whatever. But I don't think that you have to call somebody ugly.
No, there's so many
instance.
Also, like,
and I have no idea why Izzy's mad.
Me neither. Well, Izzy seemed very intoxicated at the party and then afterwards, like very, very intoxicated.
Okay, so that was another point someone brought to my attention. We're so used to now watching reality shows where they limit their alcohol intake on these types of shows. Mm-hmm. Maybe not Housewives, but on these types of shows they do. Doesn't seem like there's a limit here.
No, definitely not. Izzy gets really drunk, I think. I'm sure other people do too. I think I noticed more
Lydia
with him.
Gets like
Interesting. I
blacked
didn't
out multiple
notice as much.
times. There was times where she was like slurring her words, and in the
I didn't
living
notice.
quarters,
Well, what is there to
If I
do all
wanna
day?
give
Plus, there's no
her-
windows, so you're just like it's always wine o'clock.
yeah, if I want to give her any any sort of support, I'm hoping that she was so drunk in her conversations with Aaliyah, and that's why she
Possible.
wouldn't shut up about Uche and his blue Tesla, and why she was like,
Which is
"We're the
not a plus,
same.
by the way, in my opinion.
We're the same. We're the same. We're the same." I'm like, maybe she was so drunk that's why we got that.
Maybe. Let's give it to her, I guess. But Izzy's the one that I noticed the most. And when he has two things that I noticed, but one of them they really want you to notice, which is when he's nervous and his leg is shaking. They like really like zoom in on that for whatever reason. It's like, we get it. He's nervous. It's a nerve-wracking situation. So nothing wrong with that, Izzy. But Stacy just really getting so angry. And then Stacy and Izzy ganging up on Chris was bizarre. When they're like,
oh, yeah.
before Johnny comes over, it's just like, let them live. Like they're exploring the relationship. There's nothing wrong with them like taking their time. Like,
well,
Johnny and Chris have done literally nothing wrong. Chris also looks so familiar. Is he just like an everyman? And that's why I think that.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. He also handled it pretty well. He was like,
he's a great guy.
He's like, I don't really care what they had to say. And Johnny was like getting so upset. He was comforting her, but he was just like, we're happy. Who cares?
Milton did something similar. Milton and Chris both did this like really good partner thing, which is like they take the conversation and pivot it inward. And like, let's just talk about us. Like Milton was like, do you trust me? When Lydia was trying to get Milton and Uche to stop talking, Milton made it about their own relationship, which like, I don't know, is this abusive? I don't think so. I just think it's like turning it inward where he's like, do you trust me? Like, do you trust me? And if so, like I can talk to him. And then afterwards he's like, it doesn't bother me. I'm still here. Like, who cares what he says? And then Chris did something similar.
I think it's not abusive when they actually like followed through with what they were going to say.
Yeah. And they're not gaslighting
like, if you're
you.
like, do you trust me? Do you trust me? And then you're like, okay, I trust you. And then he says all these things and he came back to her and was like, ugh.
Right.
That would be like, wait, you told me to trust you.
Right. And then he had like a best response. He was like, I'll text you in the group chat. I loved when Milton said that to Uche because it was like, it won't be one-on-one, but yeah, we'll still be in a group together. I don't care.
Like, we're not bros.
We're not boys. Yeah.
I met you 2 weeks ago. I'm good. And I think Milton kind of took the position of, if you really didn't care about her, bro, you wouldn't be this mad.
Yeah.
But I do think that part of the reason why Uche is so mad is because Lydia is the reason why
he's not with Lydia.
Completely fell apart. Like, would they have fallen apart eventually? Maybe.
I don't want to put that all on Lydia. I'm sorry. I can't. Uche's such a dick to her. Twice on the phone and at lunch.
Oh, to Aaliyah. Yeah. But Aaliyah was still fucking down. She was still down.
She's like, I'll still go for it.
We will not know. Even the very first conversation about cheating, I am out. The way that Uche spoke to Aaliyah, I would be like, I'm good.
Yeah, like we're done here.
You're not about to talk to me like this. Then to find out about Lydia, I'd be like, so you beat me down for cheating and you were lying to me this whole time? It's the same fucking thing. Cheating is lying.
That's why he's so horrible, is because that is like the definition of gaslighting and coercive behavior. It's horrible. But all right, we got to talk about the money stuff with Izzy and Stacy, because like they have all these issues. Well, I'm jumping ahead. After the party, when they have their fight, when Izzy says it, she makes him feel bad. This episode is brought to you by eBay Authenticity Guarantee. eBay knows that when it comes to jewelry, authenticity is the real gem. When you see the blue check mark that says Authenticity Guarantee, it means your next piece will be carefully inspired by jewelry experts and will always be worth its weight in gold. Whether you're looking to make a statement or build the perfect everyday look, eBay is making sure you get the real deal. With eBay Authenticity Guarantee, you can trust that jaw-dropping piece will always arrive jaw-droppingly real. Ensure your next purchase is the real deal. Visit ebay.com for terms. This episode is brought to you by Visible. Maybe you've already let your New Year's resolution slip. We all have, but you can still make a 2 year's resolution with Visible. Right now, you can get a one-line wireless plan from Visible for just $20 per month for 24 months. 24 months is basically 4 Bachelor seasons. That could be 4 engagements, 4 broken engagements, so many other couples we didn't see coming. It's really an eternity in Bachelor Nation. And that's unlimited 5G data powered by Verizon with no annual contracts. Switch now at Visible.com and use the code Visible24. Don't miss out. Offer ends January 31st. New members only. Promotional rate with service on the Visible plan. For additional terms and network management practices, see Visible.com. She is being unreasonable. Like, I don't even understand what she's upset about. She's mad that Izzy is still talking about Johnny. And she's like, I don't want you to appreciate me based on crazy. I want you to appreciate me like anyway, which like, okay, fine, fair enough. But like you guys, this is like part of a relationship, which is like talking about something that you both just experienced and then talking about yourselves. Like, that's just, I don't know. It's a classic party postmortem. And she was being completely unreasonable. And she does make it seem like he can ever be good enough. Like, I think she sets him up to feel small.
To not be good enough. Yeah. She also seems to me to just have like unreasonable standards of needing to be praised at all times.
And taken care of, but also wanting to like be the boss. It doesn't make any sense. She's like, cook for me.
But not on that silverware.
Not on that silverware. Like, cook for me.
Not on
like,
those plates.
And then, yeah, I mean, I thought.
And then she'd be like, I don't want you to cook for me because I asked you to cook for me. It's like,
I want you to cook for me because you want to.
Yeah, but it's like, but you just asked me to cook for you. Like, what do you want?
I need to share one thing I hate about Stacy. I need to get it off. Her baby voice.
You've shared a few things.
Sorry, this one I need to talk to you about. It's burning inside of me. Her baby voice is one of the most unpleasant sounds I've ever heard in my entire life. It's horrific.
I'm just not a baby voice person, period.
Do you talk in it? Yeah, I've heard you talk to your kids. It's more or less the same.
Oh.
I've never heard you and Seth in conversation. I've only heard you talk to Seth.
Can you imagine
when he's
based
walking
off
by?
What you know? Could you imagine if I spoke to Seth in a baby voice?
Thinking about it makes me uncomfortable.
You'd be like, what the fuck's going on? I don't really talk to my kids, and definitely not Carter. I don't think I talk to my kids in a baby voice. Like, maybe I'll be like, oh,
you do
Cassie.
some smiles.
Yeah, and I'll like add ease to the ends of things, but I'm never going to be like, oh, no. But
Stacy's like,
when two adults speak baby talk, which it's an epidemic.
It's disgusting.
I'm going to say 50% of couples talk in baby voice to each other.
That's like literally a joke on Friends. Like, it's a joke on every sitcom about couples. Dear couples that do that, work on it. That's my note for you.
Well, I just want to know why.
Well, I think she thinks she's being cute. When she's like, oh, I love that. I can't even do it because it's so gross. And she's like, and I love it. Ugh. I'm sorry I even tried. I'm not even doing it though. I sound like a goblin because that's what it sounds like to me.
He's so perfect.
She's horrible. So horrible. The money thing at the end. She's so mean to him. I agree. He was not truth. He was not truthful. It's true.
Yeah.
He was given many opportunities, but we know why, because she played such a huge deal about his paper plates and.
Okay, but he could have, I feel like there was chances before that to bring it up.
He should have told her. They should have talked about it in the pods. Like, she says they talked about like finances. So there was an opportunity.
I think that he should have said it before, and then he probably was going to. And then the more he was in it, the more she was also crazy. And then he was just like, oh, fuck, I can't ever talk about this. And then, honestly, I'm glad he did it. I'm shocked he actually ever did it.
I am too. And it seemed like he kind of regretted it. It was so awkward. One of the many times that she wasn't wearing a shirt and she's wearing like a... I hated that too. Put on a full shirt when you meet your fiance's mom for the first time. It's just an idea. Just throwing it out there.
She didn't really wear a shirt the entire series. But I might be just more annoyed with it because I'm overweight at the moment. You know what I mean?
I thought you were going to say because you don't like her.
No, I feel like I would love a 6-pack. So just seeing it nonstop was a lot.
I also just want to say this is a topic we've covered before. On Love Island, when the families come and they don't put on clothes, we're just like, what's going on here? So I would say it's not.
Yeah,
it's
Love Island.
Not only Stacy.
Love Island is the actual attire is worse because they literally meet the parents in thongs. That's not ideal.
And in the case of Molly, jump on your father's back.
But at least on Love Island, everyone's in the same situation. Like, we weren't planning this. We were at the pool. Also, we're forced to wear bathing suits all day. Like, this wasn't my choice. Stacy is choosing her attire.
Yeah. For Izzy's mom, Raina, she wore like a lace cape, like a floor-length sweater, and a very cropped top.
A bra.
A bra, basically. A bralette.
Seeing that she was a fitness instructor was confusing.
I don't get her. She's a Pilates instructor. I would never take her class. Her voice is unbearable.
Yeah, her voice is not great. But I feel like she never leaves the class. Like, she takes that persona everywhere. Like, I'm the boss. I'm telling you what to do. At the same token, I'm actually curious. Because she acts like she's some, like, insanely successful entrepreneur. Like, do Pilates instructors, are they making that much money?
No, she's family rich. Duh. Doyle money.
But that's not how she acts.
Well, it doesn't match another
also,
knock against her.
It's oil money, or is this just what you've concluded?
That's what I've concluded based on my research. I do not have that. It has not been confirmed. Listen, this is why I have to defend Lydia. I too am a researcher. I'm sorry. Have I looked at stories that I really shouldn't have in the past? Of course. I don't know. Like, this is who I am, Callie. I'm being open with you.
I think that everyone can say that they've watched a story that they probably shouldn't have at some point. If you do it every day to the same person, I'm out.
I haven't done that. But like, I know that I've had questionable social media stalking behavior. So I don't want to be a hypocrite. And that's why I'm defending our girl. We're not done talking about the money thing. So with Stacy, I think the problem with her behavior and like how that conversation went was not that she wasn't wrong, right? Like, I think we both agree that he should have told her sooner. But she just like shames him. I think that's the fundamental problem with their relationship, is that like she attaches shame to like what she perceives as shortcomings instead of being like, okay, this is your shortcoming, but I still accept you, or blah, 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 blah.
Yes. And also, it's only one way. Like, she is allowed to make him feel horrible for anything that he has and she doesn't like. But if he at any point is like, oh, you're a little hard, or you're a little this or a little that, it's like, no. There's no room for him to have feelings about like, she's perfect.
Yeah. And I don't particularly like him. And I think that like he also has his own stuff, but she just really makes him feel bad all the time. And then I feel bad for him. It just sucks.
I was thinking about this also, because again, people are like pulling clips from the show or whatever. And I thought it was interesting because we talked about how, like, and I think the first episode we covered of this, we talked about how he told Johnny his trauma, and then Johnny told him her trauma, and he was like, yeah, I'm out. Not doing it.
Horror. I know. I overlooked that. I didn't take that. I need to apologize because I didn't put enough stake in that. I was just that was kind of a joke, but not really. I was so distracted by the Uche Lydia situation that I just was like, well, everything else is just secondary.
But someone pointed out, he told her that his dad, like, doesn't know his dad, that he just like left him. And then Johnny tells him like, yeah, I was in love with my ex and I left him because he was on drugs. So like, that's one, like, I just left. Then she says, then I just got married to someone I wasn't in love with. And then I just left because my ex that I really loved died. I can get why Izzy's also like,
the abandonment thing.
Probably not for me. Yeah.
Right. That's a good point. I was confused about his family because at their dinner, he was like, yeah, I'm not inviting anyone, like just my mom. I guess he's not talking about his dad because he doesn't know him, but like, it does seem like he's just got like a lot of family stuff and not a lot of close family.
No. Yeah. I mean, even his mom,
yeah.
I agree with you. Yeah. And even his mom, I'm like, it seems like he has a really close relationship with his mom, which is great. But I'm also like, your mom is the one that was with your stepdad that wasn't great. So is there issues there too?
Probably. I think he has a lot of like, he's willing to accept a lot of like abusive or hate behavior from Stacy.
From women.
Yes, from women, period. And so there's clearly something going on there. I don't know. I just like, I think Devon also said this, like, he's the least bad of the bad on this show. Like, I don't think that he should get married. And I don't think that
I said he's the best of the bad.
The best of the bad. Yeah. They should not get married. He's not ready. And they're just not compatible. Like, that's the main thing.
Would his finances be a immediate deal breaker? Would they be a deal breaker for you if you had multiple conversations about it, kept dating him, and then when it was time to get married, he was like, by the way, I do have some credit card debt. And you're like, wait, what? We've talked about this. We've talked about how we're paying things off and blah, 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 blah.
I agree that the not disclosing it sooner when there's been an opportunity, when she's asked directly, that's like the real red flag. Would I also be upset that he had I guess he doesn't even have debt. He said he had a bad credit score. He said bad credit and he owed like $3,500. I think if I were Stacy, that would make me nervous for two reasons. One, like, I was actually thinking about this. Like, do they like talk about like a prenup or something? Does she have a trust? Like, do they discuss that? And then the other thing that would make me nervous about it was like, even if it comes off as really snotty and like privileged, she does like a certain lifestyle. So like if she likes to live a certain way and that's not compatible with how he lives, she's going to be unhappy. So if you're unhappy, then that's not good for your relationship. So like the way that she presents herself is like so off-putting, but some of the things that she does, like I'm not like in a vacuum, I don't necessarily think are like despicable.
I think that someone will not have any issue with how she's acting. So there's that. But based on how involved her dad seems to be, I'm sure she has a prenup.
Probably. I mean, and also she should. Like they just met behind a wall a month ago.
Yeah. I also think that while I would be more alarmed with Izzy not telling me, because $3,500 in bad credit is probably a good chunk of the population.
Yeah, probably.
Like $3,500 is not bad.
Also, he's young, right? Like he can change that.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's time to turn it around. It's not like he's on the
I just
Golden
think
Bachelor.
like student loans alone,
yeah,
$3,500 is like a reasonable.
That's like not even room and board.
It's like a hill. It's not like a mountain that you can't climb.
Yeah, and also
maybe a speed bump, if you will.
And then he also talked about like how he's a new job. I mean, I think he's like really aware of it. I'm curious like if this was like something that was an insecurity of his before he met Stacy, or if it's something that like came to light based on just like their conversations or whatever. I don't know.
Also, to my point to you off air, Stacy is as rich as she talks about.
Mm-hmm.
Like $3,500 is shouldn't be.
I don't think the point is like can she help him pay off his debts? It's more like that he has them to
That's
disclose
what I'm saying.
it.
Him not telling me would be my issue more than anything else. But I feel like she acts like Paris Hilton, and I just don't think that's the actual case.
I think I'd rather hang out with Paris Hilton and Stacy.
I mean, Paris Hilton's fun.
Yeah, she does. I don't know.
Would you rather hang out with Stacy or Ivanka Trump?
Stacy. What about you?
Yeah, I guess Stacy.
I don't think that there's almost no one I'd pick.
I mean, honestly, if you're going to be just like annoyed anyways, you could probably do cooler things with Ivanka.
Interesting. No, I can't. I don't want any contact.
I mean, obviously, I wouldn't want to support anything that, you know what I really wouldn't want? Pictures. You know,
yeah, I think many people agree. I think that's happened.
You cannot use me for a photo op.
So, Callie, what do you think happens at the altar with these two couples?
I think Lydia and Milton get married but are no longer together. I think Stacy and Izzy get married and are still together.
I was surprised by how quickly Stacy and Izzy moved on from their fight. Like, they're like, you know, and this standoff seems incredibly awkward. He has that, by the way, we forgot to mention this. He has that huge pile of clothes. There's a lot of silence.
Yeah,
but
were they doing laundry?
I don't know, but like her stuff was like folded and like orderly in her suitcase, and his was just like a tornado on top of a suitcase. It was so funny.
Yeah. And they kept showing it.
I know. They moved on really quickly. They went from like awkward silence, packing up out of that apartment, to baby voice. And I was really surprised by that. I thought it was like gonna be a cliffhanger of like, where will they be before the next episode? So I thought that they would I think they'll get married based on that. Milton and Lydia, I don't know, man. I did a deep dive on their Instagrams. I couldn't really tell much. I will say Izzy is like kind of not like partying, but he's sort of like a lot of like birthday posts and like, here's me, and just sort of seems like basic single man or basic dating man. Doesn't give married. Stacy, I didn't get as into. And then Lydia, I could glean almost nothing, except for like, I looked at who she follows and doesn't follow. There's not a lot of rhyme or reason. She doesn't seem like a big Instagram person. And then Milton, he like traveled and stuff, but I can't really tell either. I think it seems like he lives in California now, though. I can't tell. But that was a potential.
I wish them all peace as they go through this terror of Instagram and TikToks, because it's rough.
I mean,
a lot of people don't like a lot of people.
I was pretty mean about Stacy.
Us.
Yeah, I was pretty mean. So, Stacy, I hope you're not
but
listening.
Again, we've talked about this. If you're going on a show, people are going to have opinions, and that's fine.
So just log off. Just like take like 18 months off the internet, you know?
No, but no, I was going to say like people can have opinions, whatever. But I would not take it to their personal accounts ever.
Yeah, I agreed. Just, you know, and don't send them this podcast.
Don't listen to this podcast. Also, I think in general, I would find it interesting, like if we were all recorded in these circumstances. Because we even said with Aaliyah, like some of her decisions were like, what the fuck, girl? Like I thought this, and then you acted this way and this way. And then she left. And I just think they put people in situations to act crazier than they are.
Right.
That's why I want to believe Lydia was like tired and drunk.
Oh, well, they're definitely like deprived and all that. So that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yes,
I
that's what I'm
saying. Because like, obviously we have clues from the outside world, which make things add up for me for Lydia.
Mm-hmm.
But with the Aaliyah stuff, which to me was the most alarming, I'm like, hopefully it was the circumstances.
Yeah.
That being said, I would love another season.
Me too. I don't know how they'll top it, but they will. You know, every season I'm like, wow, this is crazy. Although I think now that we're nearing the end, I can conclusively say that I think the worst season was the Dallas season, the one with Raven and SK and Alexa and Brian.
Right. And those people, Alexa and Brennan are still together.
Matt and Colleen just moved in together. Yeah, they're together too.
It is crazy that this show seemingly works.
Kind of. It has like a low success rate, but it has some successes.
It's not that low.
There's Matt.
There's
Barnett and Amber.
This is season 5, right?
Yeah. There's 3 couples from Seattle. There's 0 couples from Chicago. There's 2 couples from Atlanta. There's 2 couples from Dallas.
Yeah. That's 7, right?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
7 out of 4 seasons. Like, that's a really good success rate.
I guess, but then really like the season, they only have 2 couples at the end. So it's is this a successful season? I don't know.
My number one complaint is that they only gave us 4 couples to begin with. And 2 of those were like semi-sabotaged with Lydia and Uche. And then one of those stood no chance because JP was in the couple.
Right. People have pointed out, you said this to me, I didn't really notice all the American flag stuff until Mexico, but he had it in the pod as well. So like literally everything.
He had an American flag, like an actual flag in the pod.
Everything he brought for this experience was related to the Stars and Stripes. And that's nuts. That is truly, I think that might be the nuttiest thing to have happened on this season, including everything with Uche and Lydia. That is nuts.
I agree, just because, again, we don't know where he buys all this.
It's like it's got to be from Amazon.
Paraphernalia.
It's got to be from Amazon. Just click, 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 click. All right, Callie, we'll be back for the weddings. Thank you to our producer, Devon Renaldo, and everybody stay safe out there in your dating. Maybe don't go into a pod.